Joining us to discuss this and more, TMZ's Harvey Levin, Variety's Elizabeth Wagmeister. Welcome, both of you.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, Harvey, let's start with you. What does this tell us about, one, where Disney's at right now and where streaming is at right now?
Well, it tells us about those two things and more. So what it says about Disney is that Disney Plus charges $6.99 a month for the service. They need content to keep people interested. And some of their productions, many of them, and it's not just Disney, it's everywhere in entertainment, they are on ice. And so Disney needs this content. So by shifting it from theaters over to Disney Plus streaming, what they're doing is they're trying to keep their base interested in continuing on with Disney Plus. So this is just one of the many challenges that I think you're going to see. And they're not being discussed out loud generally, but all the studios now, all these companies are hurting. They're hurting because they're worried about ad revenue, that it's just going to tank. And the amount of money that they're going to be able to spend for future productions is not going to be anywhere where it was. So everybody's trying to figure it out right now.
Yeah, and Disney's revenue down 90% versus this same time last year, which is extraordinary to think about it. So, Elizabeth, one of the things is, to what Harvey's bringing up, is what do we do when production is shut down? Fox has an interesting solution with a show called LA's Finest.
Yes, so Fox is the first network to announce their fall slate. And the reason why this is a huge deal is because, as Harvey said, production is shut down across the boards. That means that pilot season was non-existent. Pilot season is, of course, when all of the news shows for the fall season film to debut in September, October, November. Well, since none of those were able to shoot, what Fox, your network, did rather smartly is all the networks are having to get creative. What they did is they have acquired the first season of LA's Finest, which is a cop show starring Jessica Alba and Gabrielle Union. It aired on Spectrum Charter Service, so yes, this has already aired. But Spectrum is a much smaller platform than Fox, and Fox believes that it has new viewers that it can now entertain with this show. So yes, has the show aired? But it's new to these viewers. So again, you're seeing something that is in finger quotes new, but what else can you do when nothing is in production? Now, Fox is also doing something else that's very smart. They are really resting heavy on animation. We know that Fox has Family Guy, The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers. They also greenlit 2 other animated shows. Animation is really the only thing that can be produced right now, Elex.
And Dr. Drew, that sort of raises the question, how can you do film production safely once we're able to come back?
That's what I was wondering. I mean, how do you even do animation where people's work in these very tight teams, I guess, on Zoom, but then when you're doing the voiceover, you're all locked into the voiceover booth together? And I'm wondering, Elizabeth, why aren't people going to, say, Georgia and actually doing production there? I mean, so much of what happens doesn't happen in California anyway. We seem more tightly bound up here than almost anywhere right now. Are they planning to go to other states?
You know, it's a great question, Dr. Drew. And really, no matter what state you're in, production is tough because, as you said, you're getting a ton of people together. It's not just the cast that you see on screen, it's the crew. But I'm glad you asked because just hours ago, actually, news broke that Tyler Perry is resuming production at his Tyler Perry Studios, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. He just announced that 2 of his BET shows are going to resume production starting July 8th. Now, leave it to Tyler Perry. Of course, he has the magic answer. This does not signal that production across Hollywood is going to resume. The rest of productions, they are looking at maybe August as the earliest target date, probably more like September or October to resume production. The reason why Tyler Perry can do this is because he has a 330-acre sprawling studio. Right. He is going to essentially quarantine the entire cast, the entire crew.
Wow.
They'll all be tested and they will film the entire season.
Place. And so, Harvey, this issue for California was an issue before coronavirus even started, which was Georgia, other states trying to offer better tax incentives to get production out of Southern California. And now this could be an issue once again with California with the restrictions.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, the thing with Tyler is he shoots his entire season in 2.5 weeks, if you can believe that. So the people who are coming in and are going to be quarantined will be there for 2.5 weeks. most shows, it takes months and months and months. So I'm not sure how that's going to work on a more widespread basis. But, you know, Dr. Drew and Elex, we've talked about this before, but I think that there have been opportunities here that may make people realize, you know, work where you live, where you want to live. Don't necessarily work where you live, where you have to work.
Right.
Because, and I'll give you my experience with this, that we were in full production the day we went home. We have 5 shows in the air. We have 3 websites, full production, but we had to do it differently.
Right.
And we did a special, and we're actually developing other shows in this format. This is a treatment that we're talking to a streaming service about. So we want to keep producing, and we're going to do it right from here. It's just going to be very different.
Yeah.
So when we talk about, gee, can they do it? Are they going to move everything else? I think there's actually, because of the innovations with this,
right.
I think California may be a safer place than before the pandemic for producers to be, because I think working at home changes the game.
Well, as long as you can have as nice a background as Harvey has, it is worth working from home. That is the new addition that we're seeing in the last couple of weeks. Coming up.
All I have for you is a word. Tenet.
One of this year's most anticipated movies is Christopher Nolan's Tenet. It is scheduled to hit theaters in mid-July, but with the coronavirus outbreak, is that even possible? We welcome back 2 of my favorite people. TMZ's Harvey Levin, Variety's Elizabeth Wagmeister are with us. Elizabeth, let's go with you. What does the future of theaters look like, and are we going to see this movie?
First of all, Alex, you are also one of my favorite people, so right back at you.
Thank you.
But you know what's interesting? So Tenet comes from Christopher Nolan. This cost over $200 million to produce. Obviously, big budget. They want to see a big box office return. This appears that it's going to be a battle between Christopher Nolan and the studio, because, of course, the studio wants to make big bucks. Christopher Nolan, he really wants to be that first film that reopens theaters, brings viewers back to that theatrical, traditional experience. Well, here's the catch. Just today, Russell Crowe came in and rained on Christopher Nolan's parade because a small movie, it's a thriller that Russell Crowe is starring in called Unhinged. They announced today they moved their release up from September to, get this, July 1st. Now, the reason why is this is a smaller indie studio, and I think that they want to make headlines with this. But the fear with that is that, I mean, July is not that far away, Alex.
Right.
So who knows if movie theaters will even be open in markets across the country.
Especially in California. So, Harvey, what does the future of the movie experience look like?
I think it looks like where most people are sitting right now, which is home. You know, I think that this has been a sea change in so many ways. But, you know, a lot of people have been grousing about the cost of going to the movies, and especially when you have a family, and, you know, it can be a couple of $100. And now all of a sudden people are having these experiences at home. You know what it reminds me of, guys? You guys are too young. I may even be too young for this, but it used to be that, like, kitchens were built and they were just like really small in people's houses. Right. And then all of a sudden people decided, ooh, I can cook, I can do it, I can really have fun with this. And then kitchens became a big part of a house. Right. I think the entertainment area of a house is going to become much bigger, multimedia in a way we haven't seen before, because I think people are figuring out we can get all of this at home, especially with streaming.
And of course, Wolfgang Puck opened up the kitchen for restaurants. And Dr. Drew, just real quickly to wrap things up, you think about this industry, it employs more than 900,000 people across the country, directly employed in the entertainment industry, 2 million support jobs, and it's such an important thing for people in this community.
It is, and theaters are certainly not going to be the same in the short term. We go in there, we're going to have to be feet apart from people, wearing masks, and even then we're taking some risks. We wash our hands and whatnot. That to me seems like an environment that could potentially be somewhat risky for us to go into. But Harvey, speaking of your previous productions and what you've been doing full throttle, Andy Dick has a great new film where he plays the Tiger King. I think that's for you. I think it's he made it just for you. I think. I'm gonna send him over.
And Nicolas Cage is going to be playing him as well.
No. This one was Andy Dick as Tiger King.
All right,
for Harvey.
We got to go. Harvey Levin, Elizabeth Wagmeister, thank you.